Good day, everybody. How's it going? I hope you're all doing very well. I'm Tim Meister, and welcome back to the city of Oxbourg, where in this episode, we're going to be expanding the city with the construction of a brand new university campus over in this region. Now, following the construction of our little college campus over here, a lot of you have suggested to me that I should build a university campus nearby, as the university buildings are awfully similar to these college buildings. Now, normally when I build a university campus, I do try to build a college campus very close by, and then using the recolor tool, we can kind of color match the buildings, because as much as they do look very similar, the colors don't quite match, and using recolor, you can kind of get them to match quite closely. So anyway, we'll probably be doing that a bit later in this episode, but that's going to be the premise of this episode. We're going to be building a brand new college campus, but in addition to that, we're going to be doing something more. And now we're going to get into a little bit of landscaping, and I'll explain what is going on here in just a moment. So, actually, I'm going to demolish this stretch of road, and that's going to give me a chance to flatten out all of this, and we're going to level this entire city block. And then I'll go ahead and rebuild this stretch of road. Actually, you know what? I'm going to demolish this road as well up until, well, I guess over there. And then I'll flatten this out just a little bit farther out, because when you're building big flat pieces of infrastructure, sometimes they don't tend to play nice with any kind of inclination. So we're going to make this whole block all nice and flat. And then I guess I'll try to get this as central as I possibly can, and then we'll have this road going out this way, and then we'll connect up these two roads back together, and then, oh yeah, we might have to do a little bit of landscaping over here. You know what, let's do, I'm going to increase my brush size up to, let's say, 100. And then I'll just make like a nice smooth slope within this entire city block. There. I think that should work. And I'm just going to straight up connect these two roads just like this. There we go. So now we have Autumn Street, and as you can see, Autumn Street is a major artery that surrounds the entirety of downtown. So this is going to be a very important road. So there we go. All right. Now, I mentioned in the last episode that this was to become sort of like a central park, or so to speak, the central park of Oxbourg. But there's been a little bit of a change of plans since then, and I think we can do something a lot more exciting than just a big old park. If we check our monthly balance, you know, we're making a healthy 3.75 million a month, so that's plenty. We have 21 million in the bank. We have a healthy wallet. I think, why don't we build our next tourist attraction, the National Gallery of Art? Because as I was planning this episode out, I just so happened to notice that this building fits perfectly within this city block. Like, wouldn't this be really, really cool over here? And then what we'll do instead is this whole block will become Central Park, because it's quite a bit bigger. You know, I think we can have a proper, green space, beautiful park here just on the outskirts of downtown. And oh my God, everybody's catching a cold at the exact same time. Just another Tuesday here in Oxbourg. All right, so I'm going to do a few other things before we get to plopping. One of the things I want to do over here is expand this road into a 4-lane. And on top of that, I'm going to do something here that's going to be really cool. I'm going to build a large roundabout right here, because this road, what is this? Stockwell Street. Okay, that's actually a pretty cool name. Oh, but then, wait, is it Stockwell? Well, okay, so it's Moore Street, and then it turns into Stockwell, and then it becomes Poplar Street. Shout out to Poplar Ponderosa. This is your street. So yeah, this is kind of like the main street of the city. As you can see, it splits downtown right in the middle, and you know, it's kind of going throughout some very important parts of the city. So why not have a big old interchange roundabout right here? But on top of that, we're gonna do something really cool here. Check this out, guys. I'm really excited. I kind of planned parts of this episode out to be really cool, and you're about to see why. So if I can get this lined up, actually maybe I should scale this down to a little 4-lane. I think that'll be a bit easier. Okay, if I go maybe right up here. Nope, one more. Let's do this. Actually, let me just set myself up. We're going to do 90 degrees, just like this, and then we're going to connect this road up. 180 degrees, boom, just like that. And then we have a beautiful roundabout. And this makes for an awful sharp turn, so I'm just going to make a little exit, just like this. Let's remove the traffic lights, remove some of these crosswalks. I'll keep the middle ones, and then let's beef up these sidewalks here, just so we don't have parked cars. And then we'll have a nice grass median. And we don't necessarily want parked cars on this side of the street, because that's going to be the park side. There. All right, so we have quite a unique road layout going on, and the reason why I'm doing this is because the university is going to line up with this road. Look at that. Isn't that going to look really cool, guys? That is the plan that I've come up with. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We first have to plop down our National Gallery of Art, and with all of our roads being situated, we can now go ahead and plop this building, and look how epic this is gonna look. Now, unfortunately, things didn't quite work out to where this road, Cherry Street, doesn't quite line up with this building, so I'm really sorry to all you OCD folks, myself included, kinda. But I guess that's what it's gonna be for now. But I suppose I could maybe push things off to the side a little bit in an effort to get it to line up maybe a bit more closely. And I mean, that's already a lot better, right? Like, you have to be looking at it right down the middle to notice, but you know, even if you go a little bit to the side, it kind of looks like it lines up. So I'm really sorry, guys, if I pointed that out to you guys, and I know some folk may get bothered by that, but it's okay. All right, so there we go. Now we're gonna have to do a little bit of landscaping to get this to work out, but let's get into that. Let's finish this block before moving on to anything else. Starting with this little chunk of land, what I'll do here is I'm gonna build a mini drop-off zone by constructing a one-way alley. Just like this. So we're not gonna make this a major intersection. Same thing with this over here. Hopefully this is not gonna cause any problems, having these two intersections super close to each other. It might cause problems, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. So that'll clean this up a little bit. And then what I'll do is go into my landscaping tools, and I'll just kind of soften up this hill, because I want to make this accessible, right? I want people to be you know, whoever's standing around this area to be able to march up some stairs and then make their way into the back side of the museum. So we'd probably have like a huge gallery in the middle there, accessible from both sides of the building. So we'll try to make that happen. Oh, is this gonna work? Am I able to do anything about this? Ooh, I don't know. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted a nice, clean slope. Just like this. Oh yeah, that's gonna be epic. And what I'll do here, may as well create another sort of drop-off zone. Just a simple one-way that's gonna go from one end to the other. And then no use having two intersections super close to each other like that, so then we'll just move things off to the side like this, and oh god, okay. Can I lower this road? Oh yeah, perfect. The terrain is conforming to the slopes, so that's great. And then we'll remove the crosswalks here. We'll remove the set of lights. Another crosswalk. There, I think that's fine. Okay, well that makes my slope like really, really high again. Okay, I definitely want to lower this. So, yeah, actually, I think I'm just going to demolish the whole thing. And I'll make sure that... Oh, yeah, okay, I see what's going on here. Everything's kind of conforming to the terrain already. So what I'll do is have a stretch of road like this. Oops, wrong road type. Oh my god, yeah, the one-way's pretty big. So I'm going to highlight this entire stretch of road. And then using move it, we're going to do to object height. And bring everything... yeah, we'll just leave it at that height. And then everything on the extremities of this road, I'm not too concerned about. Uh-oh, yeah, we got some weirdness going on. Are we able to fix this? If we do something like that. Oh, yeah. That fixes it up pretty good. And what are we going to do about this? I was going to make like some stairs or something, but oh my god, I don't know how this is going to happen. Do I have stairs? Do we have stairs in our menu? No. We can make our own custom set of stairs, though, probably. Probably if I use some pillars here. You know, if we set some horizontal pillars, like a whole bunch of them in series, you know, we could get a nice set of stairs. I mean, it's worth a try. So I guess we'll jump into time-lapse mode briefly, and we'll just see how this goes. This might not even work out, but let's try it. right, guys, what do you think about this? Not bad. Not perfect, but I think it's pretty good considering the slope that we had to deal with. But anyways, now let's move on to what this episode was supposed to be about, which is the university, which is going to go right about here. So the front of the university is going to line up perfectly with Silverbrook Street. And that is going to look super duper cool. But I should have done a bit more landscaping over here. But that's okay, we'll get to it. Oh yeah, hopefully I can get this to be lined up with these roads. Oh yeah, okay, that's not bad. And then I'll just slope this whole hill out. And I might... You know what, I'm gonna get rid of this lake. If I want there to be a lake here later on, I'll just build a brand new lake. And there we are. So I'm kind of testing the waters with this one. I'm not sure how the university is going to behave with this kind of slope. I don't know if it can handle any kind of slope, but let's give it a try. Oh, again, I'm not going to be able to line this up perfectly with the road, but I think if I put it, let's put it here. And there we go. How is this going to turn out? Not bad. Not bad. It conforms quite well to the terrain. We have some weirdness going on in a few little spots, but... Oh, this is actually quite convenient. This lines up pretty well. Oh, shoot. That's like messing with the whole segment, but that's okay. Okay, I'm just gonna bring this up just so it lines up. I might actually have to, like, replop this building. Relocate. There. Does that fix it? Nope, not quite. What if I remove it? Yeah, you know, we've got plenty of money in the bank, guys. It's fine. Oh, yeah. Okay, so hang on here. We're going to have to do a little bit more landscaping. I'm going to have to use my flatten tool. And then we'll try this out. Hopefully this is going to work. There, I think that's far enough, and let's try that one more time. Much the same, because I think it's averaging out the building with the whole area. But you know what? It's not the end of the world. Oh yeah, and I can't even, like... Okay. Well, it is what it is, guys. When you're dealing with huge buildings, even the slightest little slope can wreak havoc, but it's fine. You know, you can't really tell from afar. Okay, so there it is. There's our campus full of trees. Hopefully when we plop our extension wings, they're gonna go away. Beautiful. Okay, so we have our extension wing, which is gonna cost us an extra $37,000 a month, which is fine, I think. Oh yeah, we're still making a ton of money. We're way good. And then might as well build our university library, which would look really cool if it was here instead of this ugly parking lot. But we're just gonna have to build it elsewhere. Maybe here might look pretty cool, or perhaps, I guess on the side of this building. And I could build it there, but then that's going to occupy some space within the park, which we don't necessarily want. Where am I going to build this? You know, I suppose I could build it on the side, just like this. Yeah, that's not bad. And then at least the parking lot is multi-purpose now, so it can serve the university and the main campus building as well. So that's pretty good. And then this road, eventually, I'll just build a little stub here just to signify that this is going to continue in that direction. But there we have it. There's our main university campus. But we're not done. So we're going to have some buildings going in here. This is going to be the park, which we'll get into a bit later on. But now what do we do for the rest of the campus? Because I don't want just this to be our university campus. Because look at the beautiful collection of awesome buildings that we have access to. I might even build a second college maybe in the back here just so it matches up, because you know, both of these buildings are quite far now, and I don't know if you can really say that this is part of the same campus anymore. But yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. So we're gonna do some more landscaping. I'm gonna average out the height of this entire campus. Just like so. We're gonna have the whole campus on the same level, I think. I think that's in our best interest. Just so we're not having to deal with some crazy, wacky terrains like we just had to deal with the art museum. And there we are. All right. So now this road is going to continue in this direction basically forever. And now we got to decide what is going to be part of our university. So of course we can have some roads kind of zigzagging their way through the campus, as is normally the case with any kind of university campus, and then that can help us decide what goes where. One building I really like is this here, the Modern Technical University. Quite large, and I love this building because it's kind of like a brutalist style. It almost looks like some sort of like science building or something. But let's try it here in the back. You know, we can say that this would have been like the first part of the university, and then this second part would have been added sometime in the future. And of course we have to fully upgrade this building to get the coolest effect. And oh, what do we have here? Modern Student Plaza. I think I actually prefer without the plaza because then there's a little bit more diversity. And we have what do we have here? Technical Academy building. This might actually look pretty cool in another spot somewhere. Yeah, I guess in the back here wouldn't look too bad. And one building I'm really excited about is this here, the lecture hall. So this is a pretty unique looking building. And where do we plop it is the question. Maybe in the back here. I think that would actually fit in quite nicely. And then we'll continue this road just like so. And then why not have... Oh yeah, I know what we can do here. All right, guys, I'm actually really loving the look of this campus so far. But still, we're not done. We still have plenty of money in the bank, and we're actually making more money than we ever were for some reason. Or are we? Were we making 3.7 million a month or 2.7? I forget now. But anyways, the fact of the matter is we're still making a ton of money. We can afford a few extra buildings. Now, do I really want to go with an extra college? I don't think it's necessary, because I think with just these collections of buildings so far, we've already got a really, really cool campus. But one more building I want to add, I believe is it the Modern Community College? Hang on, let me think here. Or is it the Modern University? I think it's the Modern University. Now, if I can somehow squeeze this in somewhere, and actually it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the main campus. I could plop this building kind of off to the side. I'm gonna plop it over here as this is all nice and flat. And okay, no, it's not actually that building I was looking for, but I'm gonna keep it because it's really fitting, I think. Oh, what is it now? Modern Community College. It's gotta be. Because what else could it be? I'm gonna try it. Let's do that. Modern Community College. And if I just plop this down here, let's look at our upgrades. Yes, it's exactly this building. The sports field is what I want to plop. Now, I don't want there to be a massive, you know, football stadium or whatever, but this multi-purpose sports field is, you know, it just fits perfectly within a campus. You know, it's relatively compact, and I think we can make it work. And I think we might actually be able to make this building work within the campus if we're able to use the recolor mod to kind of match the browns and the grays with the greens and all that good stuff. But now that I think of it, this building I may just want to plop somewhere else, but we've got some pretty cool upgrades for it. Perhaps I'll just oh, it's a shame it wasn't one block smaller, because it would have fit really nicely in here. Yeah, I guess I'll just throw this building off to the side for now. Maybe it'll even stay right here. But what I really want to do is I'm going to relocate this building to over here. I'm just going to flatten this out just as a precaution. Plop this right here. And then our sports stadium. Oh no, that's oh crap. That's right. I have to plop it within the radius of the building. I don't necessarily have to, because with Move It, you can place these buildings pretty much anywhere. But do I really want to stretch the limits of the game that much? Maybe not. So let's do this instead. I'll have this road extending out this way. We're gonna once again relocate this building. This is gonna be like a really expensive building in the end. Now if I plop it here, perhaps we can get it to blend in with these brutalist gray buildings. And now if we plop this mini stadium, we can probably get this all to work. But where do we plop it is the question. Do I want to keep everything like a perfect grid pattern, or do I maybe want to like shove this out back or something? Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna build a road going out in this direction. I am going to flatten out a bit more terrain. And then what I'll do is, oops. That leaves us just enough room for the stadium over here. But I don't want to build it right next to this road. So I'll just do a one-way alley. And I'll just bump it out a bit further out. Oops, there we go. That is not bad at all. Yeah, wow, look at that, guys. Holy crap, this is a huge campus. That's all right, though. What do we have here? Dorms. Yes, absolutely, we need dorms. Oh, it's too bad they're not like lengthwise, because I would plop a bunch. That's all right. I'll do one here, and then one here, and then hopefully with Move It we can get these buildings to match up a little better with the rest of the campus. And you know what? I think that's just about as far as I want to take it. Although, if I go into my parks menu, and then we'll go into large sports parks, we have a huge, oh my god, this is like half the size of the campus itself, a sports park complex for 160,000. But this is a behemoth of a building. I don't even know if I can fit this. Doesn't even fit over here. And then we have these lakes, which I might not be able to keep. I I don't know, guys. Do we want this building here? Because this is really gonna, like, change up a lot of things if I decide to keep this. But you know what? Let's try it. Maybe I can sort of squeeze it in between these land masses here, which just so happen to be a very similar elevation. Let's just try it. I just want to see how it's going to fit. This is all... We're doing it live. Yeah, I don't know. So this is basically just a collection of soccer fields with some extra steps. And then we have a skate park, which you typically wouldn't find in a college campus that I know of. And okay, yeah, so the soccer fields are pretty much the same size. You know what? I think I'm not gonna go for this. I'm gonna demolish this building, and instead, I mean, there's a bunch of other buildings that we could plop, you know, such as Apex climbing or, you know, something else. Even a community pool, maybe. But for now, what I'll do is I'm going to build out a soccer field, and then this is sort of kind of going to be part of this greater sportsplex. And I think that's going to be it, guys, for the university campus. I think it's not going to extend much past this. I think this is already pretty large enough. But holy, am I ever loving the way that this is turning out. This is really cool. Now let's give this a try here. So let's see what we can do with recolor. So this is the roof. If we copy this color and then apply it to, I'm gonna guess this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's great. Okay, is this gonna work out the same way? Beautiful. Oh my god, that was so easy. Okay, so now if we go back to this building, we're going to copy our gray color. And then we're going to apply this gray color to this pink. Yep, and I suppose we'll do the same thing here and here, just so everything looks a bit more uniform. I like it. That's pretty good. And then what about this building? I think the roof could be a little darker. Here, let's play around with the colors, because I'm not sure which color does what. Oh yeah, we can play around with the accents of the building. All right. We may have to do these extensions separately, maybe? Not sure. Yeah, it looks like it's only affecting the main building. Yeah, okay, well, I'll just leave it as is then. I guess, yeah, we'll revert all of this back to default. You know, it's not that much different. It doesn't really bother me, you know, it's two completely different eras of buildings. So, I'm totally fine with that. There, okay. Now, I guess we're gonna get into the detailing portion of this episode. Get our campus all nice and neat, and then we're gonna move on to the grand central park. And then we gotta do something with this building here too, a little modern university. I guess I'll just move it back over to here, and then we can have an academy building. I guess right here. And then, what does this do? An extension wing. Might as well do that. University library. I gotta be careful. I'm blowing through so much money, guys. It's crazy. I probably want to watch out. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna plop this way over here. And then instead of this yellow, yeah, let's do something like that. And then is this going to be the color of the roof? Yes. Okay, perfect. So if I just select my main building, copy, I forget which one it is. Is it this one? Paste. Oh, beautiful. Perfect. And there we go. So we're going to occupy a little bit of the park space for this library. All right. So I'm going to get into time-lapse mode now, guys, and we're just going to decorate up this whole area. And then we'll pop out on the other end, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful campus, beautiful addition to the city. Look at that. This is already looking so awesome. So let's jump into it. And we're actually going to get started on the park first. I just want to get the park out of the way first. And the first thing I'm going to start by doing within the park is removing all of the trees just to get them out of the way. And we're going to follow that up with a little bit of landscaping. And I'm basing this Central Park off of New York's Central Park. I mean, obviously this is nowhere near the scale and the size of Central Park in New York, but I still want there to be a nice lake in the middle of the park. So that's what I'm going to build here with a little bit of landscaping and using the water tool, I believe, or the water controller mod, I believe this is what it is. We're just going to build a nice reservoir in the middle of the park. And surrounding this pond, we're going to have a whole bunch of different trails, different amenities. You'll see as we build along here, there's going to be a ton of stuff to do within this park. It's going to be a great way to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city, to just go out and have a picnic while still being a stone's throw away from all of the conveniences of downtown. So now that we've built up all of the main amenities within the park, such as the tennis courts, basketball courts, all of the different trails, things like that, we're now going to start to repopulate the park with the correct assortment of trees. Because the forests that are on this map by default are okay, there's nothing really wrong with them, but it's not the right composition than what I have imagined for what goes in the city. So that's why all of the urban areas around the city, I'm pretty much going to reforest them in a much more manicured format, let's say. So the last addition that I'm going to do to the park here, we're going to clear cut a few trees, get some wide open spaces in the middle of this area, and we're going to populate this little field here with a bunch of picnic tables, or picnic blankets rather, and it'll just make a nice open area, just like there is in New York City's Central Park, where it's a nice place to just go out, catch a suntan, have a nice picnic, just an open area to sit outside in the sun. And we're going to have exactly this in our beautiful Central Park here in Oxbourg. Now, unfortunately, I'm dealing with a little bit of a slope, so it's not really playing nice with these props. They're clipping into the ground, and I can't really seem to find a way to make them not do that, but with some clever placement, you know, I can get some of these to work just nicely. And then we're going to finish everything up with the addition of some nice cut manicured grass. And then we have these beautiful wildflower textures that I'm going to add to the ground. And that is pretty much going to do it for this park. Oh yeah, and one more thing that I decided to do here. I built just a couple of unofficial trails using dirt paths. And finally, we're going to finish everything off with a beautiful fountain right in the middle of the park. So although this is not a very big park, there is going to be bigger parks within the city, by the way, but this is a very central park, and you know, despite its relative small size, I mean, it's still big enough for people to go out and enjoy. And now with the completion of the park, we're going to move on to the next stage of this episode, which is still not really relevant to the university. Sorry about that, guys. But we're just going to head on over to the opposite side of this street, and there's this empty block here, this random abandoned city block, and I just wanted to build stuff on it. So around this roundabout, this is kind of like the main street of the entire city, right? This is kind of like the grand entrance into the downtown area. So I thought that there should be something kind of special about this area. And that's when I stumbled upon this beautiful asset here, this quite large skyscraper. And I just thought that it would fit perfectly within this area. It just complements this area so well. It is a little tall for my liking, I must admit, as you may see at a few moments in this video. I would have liked to have a shorter version of this building, but it's totally fine. I mean, it's just so close to downtown that it's passable for this area. So basically, I'm just going to fill in this empty city block, which will complete the entirety of the downtown area, and then we're going to finally move on to detailing the rest of the university. And then we're going to move on into the university campus and get that all finished up. And just a reminder to stay tuned to the very end of this episode, as I'll be showcasing everything that we've built this episode in the cinematics. And the cinematics are cool because they allow you to get a broad perspective of where everything is, and it gives you a sense of scale too, just knowing, you know, where everything is located. Because in my cinematics, I like to include a high-level bird's eye view over the entire city, and it's just fun to see episode by episode, seeing the city grow, seeing every new neighborhood just kind of appear and be added to the greater build. So make sure you stay tuned, guys. And unfortunately, as I was peacefully building away, the new art museum caught fire. What a coincidence. And what a terrible fire it was. Look at this, guys. The entire building is just engulfed in flames. And I was kind of panicking because it took a good few minutes for the fire trucks to get dispatched out to this location. They had to traverse almost all of downtown through all of that traffic. I'm sure it must have been terrible. But one by one, they finally arrived on scene, and they thankfully were able to put out the fire. But look at this. There's like an entire firehouse worth of engines that are on this fire. It was a whole blaze. It was crazy. But luckily, the building was saved. And it was at this moment that I realized I should probably add yet another fire station to this location. But yeah, I'm glad we could save this building because it would have been a pretty expensive episode. Had it burnt down. But anyways, we're going to move on from that, and we're going to head back into the campus where I'm going to start detailing the whole thing. But you may have noticed this massive medical research facility that seemingly popped out of nowhere. And that is just because I totally forgot to hit record when I plopped this building down, and I just realized afterwards. But you didn't miss much, guys. You just missed the moment at which I plopped that individual building down, and I started recording right after. But anyways, there is a giant medical research facility just outside of the campus, because it occurred to me at one point that there should be a medical research element to this whole university, right? Similar to Harvard Medical School, or, you know, any kind of like medical university attachment. So anyways, we're going to work on building some parking lots and detailing the campus a little bit, and we're going to expand on the medical research facility a bit later on in this episode. And at this point, as I was building away, I thought to myself, is there any other buildings that I may be able to squeeze into this campus? Any other smaller buildings, high schools or elementary schools, anything that would kind of match with this whole brutalist modern theme? And to my surprise, there was. I mean, not really to my surprise, because I've already dealt with these buildings before. I knew they exist. But I just kind of forgot that this was an option. So I think this is a high school that I laid down, and then the smaller buildings surrounding them are upgrades for the high school. I think this is what it is. It's part of like the modern high school. But anyways, yeah, they just fit perfectly within the campus. They match quite well with all of these other modern buildings. So I figured the more the merrier. We'll just cram every little nook and cranny with additional buildings. And it actually turned out really nice. So I'm glad that I thought about that and took the time to put these buildings in place. And for the final portion of this episode, I'm going to be adding on to the whole medical research portion of this campus by adding a bunch of medical buildings. So here we have a hospital, a modern hospital, which I was able to upgrade to a multi-story building, and to me this kind of looks like a modern research building, even more so than any type of hospital. And then in between all of these buildings, I'm just going to add a few office buildings because I find that they kind of have that same office medical aesthetic, and I think they're going to blend quite well into this whole area. And with a little bit of struggle trying to find out what is going to fit into this area, I believe I ended up plopping a Japanese medical center. Yes, it is the Japan Medical Center. So yeah, I basically just plopped down a collection of medical buildings, and we're just pretending that they're part of the greater university campus. And I think it makes for a really cool setting. And plus, it's going to set up the city for a long time to grow, and there will always be enough medical beds and staff and ambulances to come collect sick people. So it's going to improve the overall health of the city for a long time to come. And plus, we have enough money for it, so it's all good. So that's going to be it for this episode, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this one, honestly, building it out. It was really fun. But if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, consider checking out my Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. There's some pretty cool perks to be had on there. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for these beautiful cinematics, and I will catch you in the next episode. Take care.